As we are wrapping up 2024, I often wonder how many of you feel like every year just slips right through your fingers. And you're left wondering, where did all that time go? Maybe you're asking yourself, did I even make progress? Or feeling like it's all blurred together by now between the demands of motherhood, work, or just keeping up. If that is you, today's episode is exactly what you need. Today, we're taking a journey into something powerful. Before the ball drops on New Year's Eve and the world pushes us into goal setting, I want to offer you a moment to rest and reflect. This kind of space pauses us. It really makes us see the progress and growth and the beauty that God has been weaving throughout your entire story. Together in this episode, we'll go through what I call the 4 pillars of welcoming a new year with rest, reflect, refresh, and ready. Let's dive in.
Welcome to There Will Be Joy. I'm your host, Lauren Alonso, and I am a wife and Southern mama of 4 and counting. I'm that crazy friend of yours who's always ready to dream big with you, cheer you on as you dance to the beat of your own drum, and help you find the silver lining in every situation. I'm here as your host to help inspire you to live with joy, equip you with every listen, and empower you in your journey. I believe that life is a series of stories worth telling. And in this podcast, I'm going to share my own stories, the stories of others, and practical tools to help you explore how to live with intention and purpose no matter what is thrown your way. My hope is that you smile a lot, cry a little, and laugh so hard that eventually you pee your pants. Not kidding, friend. You are welcome at our table, so pull up a seat.
Y'all, I remember it so clearly. It was Christmas 2018, and a friend of mine gifted me a journal. A simple gift, so it seemed, but it also came with a purpose. It was meant to help me map out the next 10 years of my life. I sat down with that journal, full of anticipation and hope, and poured out dreams that I had for my life, for my husband Joel, our newly adopted teenage son, and for the future we were building. But here's what I couldn't have known. In just 10 days, my life was about to change forever. In an instant, my world was turned upside down. Joel passed away unexpectedly at 29, and I found myself a widow and a single mom. As I walked through that season of grief that words cannot explain, I found myself returning to that journal. There was a roadmap there, and it was there to guide me through the darkest days. God, in His infinite wisdom, already knew and had led me to capture my dreams just days before and just in time. And in the midst of the pain, I had something beautiful to hold on to cherish with direction and purpose and calling. This journey of writing down my dreams and anchoring them to faith gave me not only healing, but a reason to keep showing up. In fact, that very next week, I actually shared my journey because I was planning on doing that anyway, sharing this dream life and how to create this and how to do this. And I already had it all planned out on social media, and it sparked something inside of me just to keep moving forward. That and the word of the year that we chose that year that Joel chose himself was grow. And I could not let him down by just letting those dreams die. It sparked passion that I have now to help others with this same mission, to write, dream, and live boldly, knowing that God walks with us, even in our darkest valleys. Now, this podcast contains something amazing at the end. So if you're finding value in this, stay tuned because I have a special offer created just for you. Here are 4 ways to prepare your heart and mind for the new year. The first one is rest. Think about the upcoming season for a moment. When we welcome the new year, after all the holiday bustle, trees are in winter mode. They're bare, they're still, and they're conserving all their energy. But they're not dead. They're in an essential season of rest, preparing for the spring. Just like those trees, we're meant to pause and replenish, which is a practice woven into God's design for us. In Exodus 20:8-10, God commands Sabbath, a holy day of rest. He even took it himself on the 7th day. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, he says. On it shall you not do any work. Guys, are you as guilty as I am of not honoring the Sabbath? I just feel like it's one checklist after another. I don't even know how to honor the Sabbath. Like, I've just never fully devoted to it. It's something that I'm longing for, maybe something to put on my vision board for next year, creating that space. But in this place, we're reminded that rest is provision. It's not just a reward for productivity and progress, but it's a part of our natural rhythm. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts recently, and I heard the host talk about a devotional that she had been reading. And she said, can we learn to love ourselves as much when we're resting as when we're achieving? I was taken back by it. I literally had to pause and go write the quote down because to me, that was huge. I don't honestly love myself as much when I'm resting than when I'm actually achieving something, when I'm going for it, when I get this podcast done, when I do this, when I finish the laundry. This was a real gut check for me because I feel like so many of us are addicted to achievement and progress, filling our calendars and checking off all the boxes. We all love when people notice us, when we can celebrate achievement, right? When they see what we're doing and the mountains that we're moving and the things that we're climbing, we get applause and cheers, but most of the time, if we're honest, when are we actually resting? It's probably only out of exhaustion and when we're sick. When we have time to actually plan rest, we are beating ourselves up over the things we need to be doing instead of resting, like laundry and the never-ending to-do list. Psalm 23:2 reminds us, he makes us lie down in green pastures. He leads us by quiet waters, still waters, friend. Imagine if we approached rest intentionally in this new year, but also just for a moment, just this week. What if we just took a bite-sized chunk out of that and we approached rest intentionally, not only recovering from exhaustion, but also just to deepen our roots. Just as the trees prepare for the next season, pausing, rest allows us to be refreshed before we take new steps. Okay, so here's my challenge for you, and I'm going to unpack this for you. You might want to take some notes here. Here is your rest challenge. I want you to think about this as permission to stop and smell the roses. Before you do the next steps this week, I want you to take a moment carving out just 1 hour for rest. 1 hour. We got to approach it doably because if we set a whole day, chances are we're not going to do it. Genuine rest without guilt or productivity. Go put it in your schedule. Go put it on your calendar right now. Picture it as Sabbath time. A space where you can let go of what you should be doing and embrace just being. Whether you sit quietly, walk in nature, or spend time in reflection, honor that 1 hour as a gift to yourself. Friend, it's yours. Afterwards, ask yourself, I want you to journal this part. How did it feel to intentionally pause? What did it show you about where you need rest in your life right now? Write down any insights, any feelings, and revisit them as you continue exploring intentional rest, and share it with us in the podcast discussion in the comment section on the Joyful Life community of this podcast. This is episode 9, in case you're keeping track. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that sounds wonderful, Lauren. But seriously, with all the responsibilities and things to do, how am I going to fit an hour in? Okay, well, I've come up with some approaches for intentional rest with ways to unplug and find time tailored to early risers and late night owls, because those of you who are listening might be parents and you've got to choose one or the other. All right, unplug and plan intentional rest. Number 1 is create boundaries. Decide on a rest zone, free from screens and tasks, and if you can, silence all your notifications. Put the phone in a drawer in a separate room for however long, even if you don't have an hour. Just take 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you have, okay? And we're going to build on this as we go. All right, number 2 is for the early risers in particular. We're going to set aside some time in the morning before everyone else wakes up to read and meditate, journal. Get your coffee, your hot apple cider, your tea, whatever it is that you drink, and enjoy it. and just sit in the quiet. You can kind of habit stack this, as we've talked before, with devotion time. And I have a devotion ready for you in the Joyful Insiders that goes along with this, that you can take it through every day. Now, if mornings are busy, try to dedicate 15 minutes after breakfast, step outside to a quiet space. Even if it's cold, you might like to get cozy. All right, this one's for you night owls. Reserve the last 30 minutes of your evening to wind down in a quiet, restorative activity like reading or listening to calming music. Try an evening walk in nature or soak in the bath to release the day's stresses. Involve your family in your rest time. If you're balancing family responsibilities, involving loved ones is easier to do than just being by yourself, isn't it? For example, take a quiet hour. Everybody takes a quiet hour all at the same time. Allow everyone to read or draw or spend time listening to music individually. An hour might be much for little kids, but I promise you, you can build on this. This can teach everyone in your family about downtime and Sabbath and really honoring it. All right, number 5 is creative breaks. Plan a nature break in your week. Take a walk in your garden, even if it's barren at this time, or maybe it's harvest season for you. These unplugged moments can help ground you. Go barefoot, friend. Bring energy and peace back to your life. Remember, small intentional pauses can refuel you and help cultivate rest as a rhythm and not just a reward after exhaustion.
Hi, friend. Want a little more joy in your inbox? Join our email list for a warm welcome and a secret family recipe, the most delicious sugar cookies with icing, perfect for any occasion. On the Grits, Grace, and Granola blog, we inspire, equip, and empower you to live life joyful in every season. Plus, dive into our blog about motherhood insights, faith, home decor, tips, and more. Sign up today and make life a little sweeter together. This link is also in our show notes, so check it out.
So that's step 1, rest. Afterwards, we're going to reflect, okay? And you might think that those are kind of wired together, and all of these truly are, but reflecting is something that's a lot more active than you think. You've likely heard the old saying that hindsight is 20/20. Right. But reflection is so much more than just looking back in your rearview mirror. It's an intentional time to appreciate where we've been. It's giving ourselves permission to celebrate our wins, learn from our mistakes and misses and lessons, knowing what worked and what didn't work and how to incorporate it in the next season of life, but most importantly, to thank God for both. So I think about this as gratitude and gratefulness. And you might be like, these are kind of the same word, aren't they, Lauren? Like, I am grateful for is a gratitude practice, but bear with me. I started a gratitude practice for the first time when I started this dream journal. It became an experience that required me to reflect and realize where I was and the progress I was making every single day. Before moving forward and tackling anything, I would sit down and write out what I was grateful for. If you don't have a daily gratitude practice already, it's really quite simple. Choose 3 things every morning or at night, whichever is your cup of tea, and write them down in a notebook or a journal. You can do this on your phone, in the notes, on your Facebook page. Inspire other people. Make sure you don't repeat the same things. Get really specific. If you're a praying person, this is a great time to sit with God and be thankful for all your blessings. This is a great way to sit with God and be thankful for your many blessings. And a simple way to do this is by tying it into your morning routine, by putting it into your devotional time. Gratitude is simple, but it allows us to practice actively looking for God's goodness in everyday ways, in small things. I love it. The other side of this is gratefulness, okay? And I know we've talked about what we're grateful for, but we're going to look at it in a different way. Call it what you will, but there are times when we have to consider the hardship a blessing. And it's not usually until we're through the storm. On the other side of those challenges and setbacks, we find that going through battles as a Christian really does draw us closer to God and helps us to build a foundation. Even if it's difficult, I want you to ask yourself something tough. What one lesson from this past year has grown me the most? It's probably the most difficult one. Or maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay. Just think of something from your life that you can reflect on to be like, I actually learned something from this. It grew me. James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because this is the testing of your faith, and faith produces perseverance." And this one is another good one. Psalm 126:3 says, "The Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy." When we pause and reflect, we begin to see God's fingerprints written on every page of our story, even when it's hard to see in the moment. So here are some questions to sit with and unpack as you're reflecting. This is probably a good journal entry time. What accomplishments did you achieve this year? What lessons helped you grow? And how did God show up for you in ways that you may not have expected? If you want to dive deeper, write these out, keep them somewhere as a reminder of how far you've come. I recommend reflecting daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly, and going a little deeper with each one. For instance, I say, I'm grateful for the sunrise this morning. It's perfect for a morning reflection, but not so much when I'm doing a yearly reflection. I would reflect on a deeper and more meaningful connection that has helped me grow. When you join our Joyful Life community, you'll get access to our Joyful Life Goal Planner free. And inside of it, you will find my daily journal page at the very end, and also each of the time frames to keep you on track. So you'll have a place to reflect monthly, you'll have a place to reflect yearly and quarterly. You can find the link inside the show notes wherever you're listening, watching, or reading. Number 3 is refresh. Refreshing is like taking a deep breath after a long day. It's letting go of anything that's been weighing you down, feels overwhelming, and it's also preparing your spirit for something new. Psalm 51:10 says, "Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew in me a steadfast spirit." Reflect on the renewing power of a fresh outlook. If you're wondering how to renew and refresh your goals, consider asking yourselves these questions. What areas in your life feel out of balance and need recalibrating? What do you need to let go of as you move forward? Where can you make space for rest in your daily life? How can you invite God to renew your strength for what's to come? What do you feel that's taking up space or time in your current life that no longer serves you, and where you want to go? Jot down anything that comes to mind. And you're probably going to need to pause this when you do this, or you can come back to it. And let these things be a guide as you begin to close out this year and prepare for next year. Isaiah 40:31 reminds us, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Just like that, we need physical rest. We need a spiritual refreshing to renew our strength for what's ahead. All right, number 4, and then it'll be a wrap. While I absolutely love steps 1-3, I'm a girl of action. And number 4 is definitely a contender for my favorite. The final step is readying ourselves. This isn't about creating a massive to-do list or mapping out every moment of our year. In fact, it's about aligning our hearts with God's will and moving forward with purpose. In Proverbs 16:3, it says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." We don't have to have everything figured out. What a weight that is lifted off of our shoulders. Because when we know that He's going before us, we're simply invited to step forward with open hands. So as you prepare for 2025, here are a few questions to consider. What dreams are still unlived in your heart? What are your deepest hopes for this next year? Where is God inviting you to step out in faith? And what small steps can you commit to that will keep you moving towards these goals? Maybe this year, it's finally time to take that baking class, or fill your kitchen with creations, or start planting that garden you've been dreaming of, where you and homegrown goodness come together. Picture creating an activity calendar for your family with adventures for each season or each month. Enroll in that wellness class you've been wanting to try. Or maybe it's time to plan that weekend retreat to unplug and recharge with your girlfriends. If it's a side hustle that's been on your heart, now's the time to take the first step to make that dream life come true. This is not about perfection. It's about movement, about taking one faithful step after another. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. If you have been staying with me through this and it has really been adding some value to your life, I want to invite you to a very special place. It is called the Joyful Life Workshop. This is where I get extra excited. We will meet live the first 3 Wednesdays in November at noon, and I will personally guide you through 3 weeks of reflection, refresh, and readiness to help you with your goal planner. You're going to, of course, get your Joyful Life Goal Planner for free, but I'm going to be diving into it with you and show you exactly how to use it so that you'll know the steps you need to take and leave 2024 knowing that in 2025 you have everything that you need to support your values, your dreams, and your joy. If you can't be there live, no worries, friend. You'll get access to the replay even after the event. Watch it as many times as you like. And let me say this, community and accountability are game changers. And when we get started, it's going to be so neat because this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the community. How neat is it going to be a year from now when you're like, I cannot believe how much it's grown and how much I've grown and the true friendships I've made online. There's something powerful about gathering together with like-minded women who are on this journey with you, sharing insights, challenges, and victories. That's why I created the Joyful Insiders community where you can connect, you can go deeper, and you can connect with other women pursuing joy and purpose in every season. Let's support and encourage each other together. To join the Joyful Life Workshop, there are 2 options for you. You can sign up through the Joyful Insiders community for just $5 a month with lifetime access to the workshop, plus so many more amazing things that are coming for our exclusive members next year. Or if you prefer, you can make a one-time payment of $25 for access to the replays until February 18th. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're ready to go deeper and make 2025 the most intentional year yet, I invite you to join the Joyful Life Workshop. You'll find all the details linked in the show notes. And as always, if this episode has blessed you, please take a moment, leave a review or a comment, and share it with a friend. Let's spread joy together. This was a very special episode to my heart. And if you'll stick it out with me, I'd love the opportunity to pray for you. All right. Lord, as we close out this year and we look forward to the new year, we just ask for your guidance and your joy, your peace, and your wisdom. Lord, help us reflect on the blessings and lessons you've given us, and may we find rest in your love. May you ready our hearts for what you have prepared for us and that you have in store for us in 2025. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to see you on the inside.
Friend, let's celebrate. You've just finished another episode of There Will Be Joy. So I challenge you, find a friend to share this episode with, give them a big hug for me, and remember, keep spreading joy. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform and join our free Patreon community. And as always, leave a review if you're finding value in these episodes because it means the world to me.